how fantastic is this? Born and bred in Newham, and now my name is in lights outside the local theatre, thanks to you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you very much. Totally blessed. Absolutely blessed. So it's been an amazing journey. About a year ago, my social media guy put some clips up on Instagram. It went viral. I became an overnight social media sensation after doing comedy for 27 years. But I feel like the rhinestone cowboy suddenly, you know, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, offers coming over the phone, and offers for me to be an influencer. Can you imagine me being an influencer? I wouldn't want to influence my own fucking children, let alone the public at large, and a product ambassador. I don't know what they see in me. The weirdest one was a flower delivery service. Would you really want somebody who looks like me knocking on your door, offering you a bunch of flowers? That'd be like a mafia death threat, wouldn't it, eh? Here, mate, we're burying you in the morning. But the products I have got on board with, and don't judge me on this, Crocs have been in touch. Well, you know, I'm guessing there might be one or two men of a certain age in this audience tonight who would have worn Crocs if their wife hadn't said, "You're not fucking coming out with me." Just like that. They've relaunched Crocs. They want me to give them a review, right? They want me to give them a video review. They've relaunched them as a semi-orthopedic shoe. Thank you very much. But they've got some new features. I thought I'd advertise that while I'm here. If you put the strap down now, do you know what they call that? Sports mode. They're taking the piss, aren't they? Sports mode. So we've got the sports mode, and they've all still got this slogan, "Come as you are, come as you are." Now, I've embraced this offer, and I'll tell you why. I've started wearing them for driving, because I suffer a little bit from road rage. And I figure I'm never going to get out the car wearing a pair of pink Crocs, am I? In an urban conflict situation. And even if I cross that anger threshold, the other bloke's going to look at me and go, "Mate, you're showing yourself right up." But the best thing I think that's happened, that's made my life so much easier, is that now when I go to comedy clubs and walk on stage, people know that I'm a comedian. And I have to tell you, I walked on for 27 years to a sense of doubt and disbelief. What often happens is the audience start clapping, and then when they see me, they stop because they think there's been a mistake. No, I think they think I'm just a bloke from the audience who's got pissed and decided to give it a fucking go. You know, those kind of people. Or an angry dad who's come to pick up his daughter because she's out too late. Where the fuck is she? Anything but the actual comedian, and it's taken me ages to work it out. I don't look very funny, do I? No, you know, I'm not the sort of bloke you're going to see in the street and go, "He looks a right fucking laugh, that bloke, doesn't he?" I reckon he's a comedian, don't you? He's got fun written all over his face. So what I'm saying is I know I look dodgy. I've come to terms with the fact that I look dodgy. I mean, I used to look dodgy when I was a bit young, but I always thought when I get older I won't look dodgy. I'll just turn into a granddad kind of figure like everyone else. Obviously that hasn't happened. I will look worse now than when I was younger. When I say old, I'm not that old. I don't go to bed thinking I might not wake up the next morning, but however, I do still clear my search history just in case. So, bearing in mind, I know I look dodgy when I walk on the comedy clubs now. I've gone smart casual. I thought you'd understand. It's a postmodern reimagining of the old East End Essex classic where you incorporate some aspect of a tracksuit, weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, all totally acceptable culturally. Although, you know, I have to say, I think it takes a lot of guts from Anna Mides to wear a tracksuit since the Jimmy Savile turnout. Because, well, let's face it, Jimmy Savile fucked up the tracksuit for the older man, didn't he? And I think there's been a lot of men of a certain age over the last few years, maybe in this audience, who've been wanting to wear a tracksuit. You've made the effort, bruv, I like that. And these men have been wanting to wear a tracksuit but haven't dared because of the association, maybe even going to the wardrobe, having a little old look for old time's sake. One day when all this is over, we'll be back together again. So tonight, you know, I'm reclaiming the tracksuit from the necrophilia community for the NHS, because I've worked out as long as you say for the NHS, you can do what you fucking want, really, can't you? Hey, it's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I fucked your wife, mate, for the NHS. The NHS. But look, it's very tricky in stand-up comedy. When I first started doing stand-up comedy, I was quite old, and I think I come from a generation where comedians used to wear suits, and I thought, well, that's the look I'm going with. A suit is not a good look for me. I think most men, when they put a suit on, they look like they're going to the office or going to a wedding, right? I look like I'm going to murder someone. And professionally. Or on the odd occasions where I have worn a suit to a comedy club, I get mistaken for the bouncer, which is very flattering at my age. And this is when you know if a member of the audience thinks you're a bouncer, they'll come up and say the only thing we ever say to bouncers, which is usually this, excuse me, but if I go out, can I come back in again? Now, obviously, we can laugh at that because to us, that's a very simple question, right? But to a bouncer, that's probably a really complicated philosophical conundrum, you know. In, out, I don't know, mate. I'm a bouncer, I'm not a fucking scientist, mate, am I? Eh? Have you noticed bouncers all got an irrational fear that someone's going to steal their penis? But I flirted with the idea of being a bouncer when I was younger, not as a career option, obviously, because I'm educated. Although rather modestly and locally, the University of East London, thank you very much, which does exist, by the way. I mean, I don't know if you've got any people from outside Newham, but sometimes people laugh and snigger in a cynical way, but it's a proper university, it's got books, pens, all of that. It did have computers, you know what I mean? The thing is, right, if you come from a criminal background, which I'm lucky enough to have done so, when you go to university, you're going there to get away from that world, right? But your past life never lets you go. You never really lose that criminal mentality wherever you are, whatever you do, even at university. I'm studying history. You might get an essay question. Who was responsible for the English Civil War? I'm not a fucking grass. So I'm actually really into fashion, actually. Tragically, I'm really into vintage clothing. I say tragically because at my age, when I wear vintage clothing, it looks like I'm just still wearing it from when it came out. You know? I think the idea of vintage clothing is to wear stuff that you weren't around to wear at the time. So I'd have to go back to Victorian frock coats or Second World War fighter pilot outfits, you know? But if I ever had my own celebrity fashion line, I'd call it the Jeff Innocent Retired Cockney Criminal Leisure Wear Collection. And I'd be aiming it at the man who's given up doing all his major crimes, but typically he's still hanging around with the wrong sort of people, so it could kick off at a moment's notice, and he might have to have it on his toes. And I think this ensemble has got that versatility, really. You know, I did on one hand for meeting someone who's just been released from Nick, but equally demanding money with fucking menaces. It's a one outfit for all occasions. But you've got to have names for outfits. If you go on fashion websites, you might have noticed what they do. They sometimes give outfits little lifestyle names so that you as a consumer, you buy into it subconsciously. There might be an outfit there called Hipster Dude or City Chick. You got the idea. So the name I go with for this look, tell me what you think, Racist Granddad. And if you're from Newham or Essex, I'm sure you're familiar. It's the white working class racist granddad. That's the look I'm going for. He lives on the estate, but his daughter has just got pregnant by her black boyfriend. So, all gone very wrong for that man. He's kicked her out the house. You know what these people are like. But bear with me on this, because potentially this has still got a happy ending, because he is what I call a redeemable racist. There's still hope for this man. And this is how multiculturalism works, in case there's any northerners in the audience. I know you're in here. There's a faint whiff of tripe in the air. It's a dead giveaway. And this is how it works. 9 months later, when the daughter comes back with this lovely little baby, now the racist granddad goes through a beautiful metamorphosis, falls in love with the child. They become inseparable. It's a beautiful love story brought about by multiculturalism. It's only a start. You know, this sort of stuff's gradual. He's still racist about every other fucker. Yeah? But not my fucking brown grandchild, all right? So that's the look I think I've successfully achieved this evening for the NHS. Can I just establish the fact I'm not actually racist? I think what it is I look hugely racist, but I'm hugely not racist. So in a sense, all of this is a bit of a waste, really. And when you think there are actual racist people possibly walking past this venue as we speak, who would love to look like me. Dream of looking like me. Have plastic surgery and everything. And I'm probably showing off here, but I bet I'm the most racist-looking comedian on the entire comedy circuit. In this price range. But of course, the poetic irony of me looking so fucking horribly aggressively racist is my wife is black. We do that sort of thing in East London. And, you know, you might have noticed I'm wearing hearing aids, actually. That's because my wife is Nigerian. Come on, white people, let yourselves go with this. If you see black people laughing at any of this stuff, it means it's okay for you to laugh, right? No pressure. Yeah, I remember when it happened. I went to the audiologist. He went, "Is your wife Nigerian?" I went, "Yeah." We're getting a lot of this with multiculturalism. Yeah, I love my wife very much, but she's quite a domineering figure in my life, actually. Well, she's a fucking bully. And I think what it is she's very domineering, and I think I'm attracted to that kind of woman. You know, not domineering, but if anyone said to me, "Jeff, what kind of women do you go for?" I'd say formidable. Full fucking middle. That's what I like. Independent, assertive, go to the fucking gym kind of women. Lesbians. I know. I have a constant craving for old school lesbians. How mad is that? I love that whole lesbian aesthetic. Flat shoes, trousers, shirt, early Elvis hairstyle. What a tragic irony, though, isn't it? For an old ladies' man like me to end up fancying the very women who've got absolutely no interest in me whatsoever. I say ladies' man. The judge preferred to use the term pimp, but I don't want to get involved in linguistics at this time of night. I think I like that kind of woman for several reasons. One is, I'm a bit of a handful. You know, I think I need a strong woman like that to keep me in check. The other reason is I'm not very good at DIY. But more importantly, I know if it all kicks off in a pub or club, I've got a bit of backup. I mentioned the North earlier on. Do we have people from the North in the audience? But just the one bloke, fair enough. Quite expensive for them to get in here. Where are you from in the North, fella?
Manchester.
Sorry, mate, can't understand a word you're saying. See? They come down here, don't they? Hey? They won't learn the language. How are they going to integrate? You're very welcome, fella. We've got a lot of northern people living down in Newham now, and they've got their own shops now. Big discount gravy warehouses they've got. Some of the supermarkets, you might have noticed, they've installed slow lanes for northerners so they can take their fucking time talking about their family to the shop assistant. I've actually got a northern family living next door to me. I'm sorry, it's the smell of their cooking. I'm sort of connected to the north in a very roundabout way, actually. I'll get there in the end, but when I went to get a dog, I was very mindful of what sort of dog I got. I thought, don't get a dodgy dog. You look dodgy enough already. Get a dog that's not dodgy. Get a dog that offsets your dodginess. A dog that's soft and approachable and yet surprisingly sporty. A little bit like me. So I've got a whippet, right? I've got a whippet. So now I'm burdened with a stereotype about whippets in the fucking north. I would say on a weekly basis, someone must come up to me and go, "Jeff, you got one of those whippets. They're from the fucking north, aren't they? They're from the north. I go, mate, they're not from the north. You know, like indigenously. They don't live wild on the Yorkshire moors, in trees. You know, if you were travelling from London to Newcastle on a train, they don't run alongside like fucking dolphins, do they? Taking it in turns to be in the lead and looking back up at you. That's a beautiful image though, isn't it? Can you imagine you're getting on a train, you're going up north? Hard to imagine really, isn't it? It'd have to be a funeral really, wouldn't it? Then it'd have to be your mum, but what would she be doing up there? So, but just go with it, just for the purposes of my illustration. You're on a train, you're going up north for whatever reason, you look out the window, there's fucking whippets, thousands of them. I could make that happen, all I have to do, go and live wild on the Yorkshire moors. So cheap to live in the north, I don't know if you know that, you don't need money. They haven't even got money. Just live wild by digging up steak and kidney puddings from the ground and picking fresh tripe from the trees, all with gravy on top. I wouldn't want to break any local fucking rules. And be like a mad Cockney whippet master and every time a train goes past, run my children, run! But I did rescue a dog, and that's very popular, it's very admirable. You always know rescue dog owners, and if you've got a dog and you're a part of a dog community at your local park, you always know the rescue dog people, don't you? Because they keep fucking going on about it. He's a rescue, he's a rescue, he's a rescue. We rescued him, he was so terribly abused. And one day, do you know, I feel like saying, look, mate, you didn't really rescue the dog, did you? Not in my book. You didn't break into a scrap metal yard in the dead of night and unleash your rabid Doberman into the world. Run free, Fritz, run free! You didn't go and live on a gypsy camp and learn their ways. And smuggle out any endangered dogs in a Schindler's List kind of way, did you? You didn't walk into a pet shop with a gun and go, put all the puppies in a fucking bag now, you slags. We don't say you slags in East London, but Northerners love that Cockney shit. They just went down to Battersea and said, can I have that one, please? Not a fucking rescue, is it? The reason I mention Northerners is partly because of Brexit, because they invented Brexit, of course. Well, let's be specific. Sunderland. Sunderland, right, the first town to vote Brexit, to control their borders. Who in here has ever wanted to go to fucking Sunderland? But sadly, of course, we all know what control our borders means. It means we do not want immigrants in our town. And here's the irony about Sunderland, or any other Brexit town I've ever been to. You walk the streets for 5 minutes and all you're left thinking is, fuck me, if ever a town needed immigrants. Just to jazz up the fucking gene pool a little bit. You go to some of these places, everyone looks the same because they've been fucking each other for hundreds of years. We should be sending coachloads of immigrants up to Sunderland. In fact, these poor fuckers that arrive in dinghies, don't send them to Rwanda, send them to Sunderland. Leave them there for 20 years and they'll end up with a decent football team and a bit of culture. That's my plan for the world. God bless you. God bless you. Another thing that pissed me off about Brexit, and I know there's some young people in here going, Jeff, what are you going on about Brexit for? It was years ago, but we are now living with the legacy of Brexit. And one of the things that saddened me about Brexit is we've lost a lot of Eastern European people. And they've gone home thinking we don't like them. And I suppose you would do, wouldn't you? When the country votes Brexit. But I don't think that's the case. However, I don't think British people totally embraced Eastern European people or their culture while they were here. And I think it's to do with food. It's my theory, but hear me out. I think British people embrace any foreign culture historically as long as on a Saturday night you can get pissed and eat their fucking food. So you have a few drinks, you'll have a turkey kebab. That is so beautiful, mate. I'll tell you what, come on in, bring your family. And of course, that's where Indian people got it right first time round. But I think that's where Eastern European people have got it wrong a little bit because, I don't know about you, but I've never got pissed on a Saturday night. I thought, you know what I really fancy now? Some pickled cabbage. Get on the phone to Deliverooski. some of that cold beetroot soup that's the national dish of Lithuania. You stick as much vinegar on that raw fish as you want, Alexei. I can fucking take it. So all I'm suggesting is if they sort their menu out, they can come back. A little bit of friendly racism for the NHS there, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I'm a little bit Eastern European myself. My dad's Jewish, so I can trace my family tree back generations to Poland. It's actually Russia, to be honest, but they're not that popular at the moment, so I'm going with Poland until all this thing blows over. But I didn't know. He was the dad I tracked down, you know. I'm sure not the only one in here where you track down your real dad, and there he was, and all Jewish, and I thought, whoa, I've got a bit of ethnicity now, and you know, well, I suppose you don't know if you know this, but a lot of white English people are going through a bit of an identity crisis at the moment, sending their DNA away, hoping something's going to come back to make them a little bit more interesting at dinner parties. I'm not sending my DNA away, the police will be on my door the very next fucking day. Now, obviously, I wish I'd found out I was Jewish when I was younger. Would have had my own business by now. Well, in fact, no, I'd be retired, wouldn't I? Living off of the wise investments I would have made as a younger man, instead of up here at my age like a fucking mashugana, schlepping me tuchus off for geld. Yes, a little bit of Yiddish I chucked in there. I'll tell you why I did that. I think all those years I could have been Jewish, I wasn't. I think I'm making up for lost time. I overdrew it a little bit, so forgive me if there's any Jews in here. Forgive me, Bubala. Just trying to find my identity, you know. He did explain something that's always sort of slightly unnerved some of my friends. I've always really fancied Vanessa Feltz. Behave yourself, she's a national treasure, I love her dearly, but Vanessa Feltz, in case you don't know who she is, she's Jewish, she's short, she's round, not as round as she used to be because she's now got a gastric band. And I think that's what swung it for me, that lack of self-control. And that's not even a category on porn sites, I've looked it up. Gastric banded Jewish matures, not there. Not that I watch porn anymore, I think I'm too old for porn actually. The last time I watched porn, an advert came up and it went, "Would you like to fuck an older woman?" What are you going to do, dig them up? And that's not a category either on porn sites, who looks it up. Exhumed Jewish matures, not there. Pornography is a very tricky subject to talk about in stand-up comedy because stand-up comedy is often about a shared experience and people are very cagey about their pornography habits, aren't they? Very private. There's a guilt, isn't there? Sort of stigma attached to watching porn. You know, people are called users of porn. You wouldn't get that with rom-coms or sci-fi. Heavy user of sci-fi, that bloke. So there's a guilt, isn't there? There's a guilt. And I don't think the guilt is there because of the ethicality of the porn industry, funnily enough. I think the guilt is what you're doing when you're watching porn. Because you're not doing the housework, are you? Hey, I've got a bit of hoovering to do. Stick a bit of porn on the big screen in the front room or keeps the kids quiet while they get ready for school. So people are cagey about their porn habits, but people are more open about their sex habits. I bet all of you have been in a work situation where someone's come in on a Monday morning and gone, "Oh, the fuck I had over the weekend, I've got to tell you about it." And people will gather round to listen to the story, right? And that's acceptable workplace behaviour. But I doubt anyone's ever come in on a Monday morning and gone, "The wank I had." So that's me. Black wives, more than one, just coincidence. Brown kids, all day long. London Borough of Newham, of course. I don't know if you know this really pissed me off. During lockdown, the London Borough of Newham was voted the 29th happiest borough to live in London. Yeah, there's only 30 fucking boroughs. Hey, I know. Austerity aside, the London Borough of Newham, unique in the entire history of Britain, where, because of its history of immigration, it's more black than white. So colour-wise, I'm in the minority in this borough, which is not a problem for me, obviously. Actually, I was thinking with all me ex-wives and brown kids that I've probably contributed to those statistics rather significantly. But I think the problem I've got living here and looking so racist is I do attract racist people. They think I'm one of them. Actually, I think they think I'm their leader. They follow me round, pointing at me, probably thinking, look at that, a proper 20th century racist bloke who's possibly been cryogenically frozen in the 20th century and brought back to life now so that millennials can see what a proper fucking racist geezer looks like. Like a heritage racist, if you will. But, you know, image is tricky in this country. It's a minefield. We've established what my image is, what I look like, but, you know, your image has a different meaning depending on where you are, depending on which town you're in. Let me illustrate. You know, if you saw me walking around in East London, you might think there's a geezer you don't fuck with, right? But if you saw me walking around in Brighton, I know. What a transformation before your very eyes. It's a very similar look. Bit of a different meaning. And not a lot of people can carry off this gay fascist combination look, you know. It takes years. I don't just throw this shit together. I mean, during Pride weekend, when London was banged out with gay men on the tube system, I'm jumping on and off the tube doing gigs. I merged amongst them, comedian-like. In fact, so convincing was I thought, if I'm not careful here, I'm going to pull. And if I do, I'm going to need a backstory, aren't I? So that I don't get accused of cultural appropriation by the gay community. And I thought, right, what sort of gay man do I want to be if I get the fucking chance? So I thought I'd be an older gay, obviously, there's no denying that, but I thought I'd live in Brighton, but have a little interior design business up in London. I thought I'd spend a lot of time at moaning about young gays. They don't know how fucking lucky they are compared to what we used to have to put up with in the 1970s. And I thought I'd still do a bit of MDMA at weekends. That's the sort of gay man I'm going to be if I get the fucking chance. I'm actually the proud father of a gay son, and that has been an adventure and an education, but most of all, it's just been lovely, you know. And if I could share one thing that I've learned from bringing up a gay son that you might need to know, you never know, and I think it's the most important thing we all need to know, and that is that they are fucking expensive. Oh, you're very expensive. I mean, my straight sons, as I now have to call them, obviously, you know what they're like. You give them a football, they fuck off, you never see them again for the rest of their life. Oh, not my gay son, it's fucking Wagamamas, Tate, modern tickets to Jersey Boys, Taylor Swift concerts, sewing machine. On and fucking on with this gay lifestyle. It is costing me a fortune. I should be retired, look at me. I'm having to do these gigs to keep him in the gay lifestyle that he's become accustomed to. I'm not even joking. Now, obviously, you can't always tell the sexuality of your kids. Who knows where people are going to end up? And there's so many options these days. But with him, there was a sign early on. This is how young he was. It was Christmas. We bought him a Bob the Builder set, okay? I'm watching him unwrap it. He's ignored all the tools. He's seen the yellow construction helmet. Put it on his head, started dancing. I rest my fucking case. In case you don't know, gay men are inescapably attracted to construction helmets. It's a scientific fact. They're hardwired for hard hats. I kept all the tools from the Bob the Builder set, however, just in case I have a lesbian daughter at some point in the future. Special moment with my gay son. He's always been very political about his sexuality, and he went on his first Pride March when he was very, very young. And you know what he did? It's so good. He came in to show me his outfit for Pride. It was a lovely moment, but it was also the moment where I looked at him and thought, you're never actually going to play for West Ham, are you? Hey, actually, it seems to me, though, if you're a football dad, it's not a gay son you want, is it? It's a gay daughter. The Lionesses, for fuck's sake. I mean, virtually all gay team. How incredible is that? I wish they'd changed the name, though. I'm not happy with the name, you know. Lionesses. I feel like we're living in a post-colonial world, and here we are still stealing stuff from Africa. Lions, I don't know if you know this, but they're not indigenous to England. I thought, why didn't they show some national pride and use an English animal, for fuck's sake? Weasels. The weaselesses. I've done my research. They're tenacious. They're very fast over a short distance. They're very community-minded. They'd be brilliant. Listen, I went through every animal and I thought, just don't use beavers and he'll be okay. I used to worry that he might want to come out. Do you know that? Because I'm from a generation where gay people used to have to come out to force the issue. They've got a coming out story. The moment they told their parents they'd be gay, you know, and what happened, I thought, I hope he doesn't want to do this fucking shit, man. Because, well, I already know he's gay. I'd have to pretend. I wouldn't be convincing. I'd be rubbish. You know, oh, gay. Get out of the house. You know. Take your construction helmet collection with you. Now what I worry about if he comes out, he turns the tables on us, you know. Mum, Dad, I've got something to tell you. I'm straight. I'll be fucking devastated. I also think, rightfully, a little bit annoyed, actually. You know, you're fucking what? All that money I spent on you because I thought you were gay and now you want to be straight. No fucking way, mate. You are gay. You can come out, but you can't come in. All those hours I spent sitting in Wagamama's. You know I hate Wagamama's. I'm in there barely able to afford to drink the free green tea because he's in there ramening it up to the fucking max. But I still could be wrong. You can't always tell with kids, can you? He's only 11. And I'm looking at all the facts that I've shared with you tonight. I've got another theory as to what he might be. Check this out. Middle class. Oh no, not under my fucking roof. Now I know you're not supposed to have favourites, but I think he might be my favourite. I've got hope for this boy. And I have to say, and I don't really know how to reveal this, but I've got a few kids, they're all fucking boring. I know, none of them drink, none of them take drugs. Where have I gone wrong? And I think what's happened is they've rebelled. You know, kids rebel against their parents' culture. That's all right if your parents are conservative, straight and boring. They've rebelled against my having it large culture. Yeah. So you know at Christmas when you get a bit of cocaine in, right? Even if I haven't had any throughout the year, get a little bit at Christmas. It's like a family tradition now. Get a bit of bootros in, as we call it. Bootros, Garley, Charlie. So at Christmas, my kids come round, they're all grown up, they bring their kids, I'm the granddad. I have to go into the bathroom of my own fucking house to do my Charlie in secret. But last year, even I thought I might be getting a bit too old for this shit. I looked down, I was actually chopping up my Charlie with my senior citizens rail card. I know. You see how boring my kids are? One of my daughters, she's fantastic. You know, I don't know, you have you have hopes and dreams for your kids, and they don't always see them through. I wanted her to be in a band, or be a sort of punk poet, or run a left-wing bookshop. She's in digital fucking marketing. But this is how boring she is. She phoned me up, this was during lockdown actually, so she was a bit younger, and she brought up the subject of drugs, and she went, Dad, I went, yeah, she went, you know cocaine? I went, of course I do, my darling. Why do you think you've always lived in rented accommodation? And she said, what's it like? What do you mean? What's it like? She went, when you take it, how does it make you feel? I went, no, I know what what's it like means. What I don't understand is why someone in their 20s is asking someone in their 60s what cocaine's like. I've got to tell you, my darling, you've turned out to be a real fucking disappointment. I still get, when I fly, which is rare these days, I still get the random search, right? Which is obviously drug-related at my age. Now, for example, fairly recently I went to South Africa to do the Cape Town Comedy Festival. Very privileged, only white acts on. It was absolutely a brilliant experience. Although I have to say, a little bit tricky for me going to South Africa. And you can laugh at me rather than with me on this one because I am still boycotting South African products because of apartheid. I bet there's people in there that don't even know what apartheid is. It was that long ago. And I think what it is I'm one of these people that hold on to my political grudges. I think a lot of old people do that. No matter how outdated or unfashionable they become, you're still there, that's who I am, that's what I believe in. And my kids laugh at me, and I get that. But I think what's happened is I've turned into a modern version of my granddad, and I'm sure some of you remember this generation of British boycotters. He refused to buy Japanese stuff because of what happened to our lads during the war. And we laughed at him. But he kept it up till the day he died, which was in the late 1970s, which meant he had fuck all in his house. No fridge, no radio, no television. I doubt he even had the means to know the war had ended, the silly old sod. Then here I am doing exactly the same thing. But you know, when you're white and English, how far back do you go with this stuff? What? Croissants after 1066? I'm not going to IKEA till the Vikings say they're fucking sorry. So I got the random search twice. That's not random, is it? You get it on the way there, you get it on the way back. That's not fucking random. And it's very difficult when you're older. You know, be prepared for this. People on authority, they're all younger than you. You can't even take them seriously. He's pulled me over. I have to go through the process. I've done it so many times. And he looked at me and he went, "Did you know, sir, that it's illegal to bring drugs and firearms into the country?" Who in here doesn't fucking know that, right? I thought, why is he speaking to me like I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile? So I went, fucking hell! It's illegal now, is it? This must be the Brexit thing kicking in. I think you should put a sign up for something as important as that. Now you've fucked up all my gift ideas. Then he brought out the drug sniffer dog. Now, I've never been sniffed up by a drug sniffer dog in my life, given my previous lifestyle. Comes as a bit of surprise. So I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And immediately, I looked at the dog and I thought, wow, when I was younger, and maybe got up to a little bit of mischief, I always thought if ever I was going to get nicked by a dog, it'd be a German Shepherd. There's no shame in that, is there? Cocker fucking spaniel. How humiliating would that be to be nicked by your nan's dog, basically? But then I had a brainwave. I thought, hold on a minute. Drug sniffer dog, what a great pet that would make. You'd never lose your drugs ever again. And you'd always know where to buy drugs. Just take your dog for a walk. Although on a sadder note, when they finish their careers and end up in Battersea Dogs Home, you think, well, the other dogs in there treat them like grasses and nonces in the nick because they work for the old bill, don't they? Hey, the fucking Rottweilers want to see you later, mate, all right? I was just going to say my drug of choice has changed, but now it's a drug of necessity. Painkillers. I don't know if I'm the only one. Most people I know that are over 50, certainly over 60, are on painkillers now because they're suffering from what my doctor calls, and I've got to tell you, this pisses me off, wear and tear. Wear and tear. It's a bit generic, isn't it? I want something with a Latin name, don't you? I said, can we call it wearers tearers? It sounds more serious, isn't it? So I wake up in the morning with me wearers tearers, as I'm sure one or two of you do, and I found a cup of coffee, a couple of painkillers, just takes the edge off the day. But it's actually harder to get painkillers than cocaine. What kind of world are we living in? Cocaine, 30 minutes on the phone. Painkillers, they ask you lots of questions before they hand it over, don't they? You wouldn't get a cocaine dealer doing that, would you? Are you on any other medication? Hey. When they do that in chemists now, I've started going, of course I am. What do you think I am, a fucking lightweight? Do you operate heavy machinery? I went, do I sound like a northerner to you? Yeah, I'm in my lunch break, mate. I've got to get back on the spinning jenny in 5 minutes. I'm from London, we've got fucking computers now. Why are you asking me these questions? And they went, well, here's the thing, so after 3 days of taking these painkillers, you could become addicted. And I thought, who would look at my face and think, that bloke needs advice on drugs and firearms? I said, don't worry about me. I must have been part of every youth culture, every drug-related youth culture since the late 1960s. I must have sampled every drug we've all ever heard of. You tell him it's going to be now then, at my age, after 3 days of taking Nurofen, that's going to be the thing, is it, that finally and eventually pushes me over the fucking edge, put me wife on the game to feed me habits, sell me blonde kids to Romanian gypsies, yeah. It was all going all right, so they brought that Nurofen Plus out. That's what fucked me right up. So what this means, of course, is now the NHS are my dealers. And I worry about the NHS. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room who worries about the NHS. And I wanted it to be, like they said, cradle to the grave, and I'm getting near to the grave, and I'm worried that they're still going to be there. And of course, the problem is, as we all know, the waiting list. I'm thinking, right, the waiting list, they're very big. Maybe there's people on those waiting lists that shouldn't be there. I thought my brother Terry shouldn't be there. Well, my brother Terry, right, he's a conspiracy theorist. I know, when it happens in the family, you think, oh no, not you as well. Like they've joined a cult, isn't it? And during lockdown, he was going all day long, NHS, they're all in on the conspiracy. He doesn't trust medical science. It's all made up. You don't need to wear masks, there's no COVID. And can I just tell you, he's not a leading consultant from the London School of Tropical Diseases. He's a scaffolder. Does a bit of cage fighting, works on the door at weekends. Suddenly, he's an expert on fucking medical science. So I wondered if people like Terry, who don't trust the NHS, I don't think they should be on the NHS. I think they feel uncomfortable in the NHS. I think they should have their own NHS. I think we should have a 2-tier NHS. Terry's one, here's the beauty, no science. They'll have nothing to worry about. No penicillin, no x-rays, no vaccines. Here's a bottle of whiskey. What's that for? We're sawing your leg off on Wednesday. You're in the David Icke ward. And it can be staffed exclusively by people who, like Terry, have absolutely no medical experience whatsoever. So that might bring the waiting list down a little bit, but not enough. I wonder if religious people could do us a favour. Well, I don't know if religious people need the NHS, do they? They've got their own private healthcare plan. They are the original conspiracy theorists, aren't they? They like science when it suits them, when it doesn't, right? So I wonder if they could see it as charitable works, come off the NHS, get on the alternative one. You'd be doing us a big favour. Christians, obviously, I don't mean Muslims. I'm not fucking mad. Now I'm going to get a bit controversial with this shit, and I might split the room and lose a few people. People who watch Strictly Come Dancing. You're too far gone. There's no saving you. Especially if you call it Strictly, because you think that makes it sound more jazzy and culturally acceptable. No, it doesn't. Get on the new NHS. Do us a favour. I remember Strictly Come Dancing and the Great British Bake Off. They became programmes where the media got in on the old diversity bandwagon. Do you remember? On the Great British Bake Off, they had a Muslim lady baking a Victoria sponge cake, didn't they? They had the black lesbian boxer doing the Viennese waltz, remember? And I thought, that's not diversity. Getting black people to do white people's things, that's colonialism. To me, diversity would be to get white people to do black people's things. So instead of a programme like Who Do You Think You Are, you could have Where You From? No, Where You Really From? Where we could get a white person to stand there and justify their existence in this country by going through their entire fucking family tree. Immigrants in the Attic, that was one of my programme ideas. Stop and Search, where we see people like Nigel Farage being tasered outside Brixton Tube Station. I'm going to talk about sex before I go. I'm not going yet. It's a tricky subject. I think what's difficult is when you're an older person talking about sex to a younger audience, you know, and I usually leave sex to the younger comedians, actually, but invariably they rush the joke, get to the punchline far too soon, and you're left having to go home and amuse yourselves afterwards. Me and my wife, we met in the early 90s, right, and we spent, I couldn't really call it courting to be honest, but we spent a lot of our early days in the disabled toilets of nightclubs, taking cocaine and having sex. And in fact, I think that's the only way she can really enjoy sex now. Which is not a problem because I've converted the bathroom at home. With the help of one of my lesbian friends. Turned it into a disabled toilet. All the details are there, big handle on the door, wooden ramp, that long rail against the wall. Do you know what they're called? I didn't know that, so I've only just found this out. Grab rails. Fucking sexy is that, eh? Red emergency called. It's not going anywhere, but I think it's a nice attention to detail. And to totally capture that early 90s London nightclub authenticity, we get our son to bang on the door every now and again. But you're going to be long in there, there's people fucking waiting out here. That chips are right over the edge, that does. Although now I'm at an age where if I'm in a disabled toilet for too long, people knock on the door and go, "Are you all right in there?" But the worst thing for young people is the idea of their parents having sex, isn't it? Particularly if you live at home. Anyone here who still lives at home, and I'm sure there's a few these days, the idea that your parents are having sex. But let me tell you this, we fuck. When you're out of the house, we fuck. In your beds. It's a hate crime for ruining our lives, that's what it is. Yeah. We watch porn on your laptop. We don't even clear your search history. We do Charlie on your fucking desk. Fuck you. But I still do have sex, but here's the thing with me now. I need a bit more notice than I used to when I was young. I like a couple of weeks, a month, if possible. Get prepared, go to the gym, see the doctor. Place cushions strategically, and the older men will know this one. Place large cushions strategically in the areas that I'm going to end up once cramp sets in, which is usually about a minute if I'm lucky. But I'm not that ambitious now. I mean, I'm not as athletic as I used to be with the wearers tearers. Can't really do that much now. I'm pretty much down to one position, which I think is safety, standing from behind. You can't get into any trouble. You still do a lot of damage. I don't even know what said damage, sorry. Don't even know. Damage. I can't think of another word. Don't recall this bit. The problem is when you're older, here's a problem that I found, is once you start having sex, if you've got any clothes on, they're on now. You can't take clothes off while you're having sex. When you're young, you can rip those clothes off as you're fucking, can't you? When you're old, they're staying on. Socks get left on a lot, I think. And you know, once you start having sex, you've got socks on, they're very difficult to take. You can't take them off mid-fuck. Unless you're young. Young people who look at me thinking, Jeff, I can take those socks off mid-fuck. And what you do, don't you? You put your foot in there, don't you? Sort of slip that one off, foot in there, slip that one off. Whilst fucking, they don't even know it's happened behind them. Poetry. But I'm at an age now where I wouldn't want to risk that manoeuvre, do you know that? I rely on the old blokes leaning on walls for half an hour. Stay there, Vanessa, I won't be long. I reckon that almost every man in this audience at one point has rushed into sex, left their socks on, and within 30 seconds thought, I wish I'd taken these fucking socks off. Because it is treacherous, isn't it? Particularly if you're standing on a polished wooden floor. Or parquet, as we say in London, or if you're from the north, lino. And I think what happens, it's not exclusively a heterosexual experience, but I think what happens is, when the bloke's under pressure, he grabs hold of you. He grabs hold of the woman for purchase. But he doesn't let her know that's what's happening. He disguises it. He makes her, he's roughing her up a bit, but he's not. He's holding on for dear life. So the woman, yeah, or whoever, they're down there thinking, he's getting a bit fucking rough tonight, man, but you know what, I'm going to go with it. That's not what's happening at the other end. He's thinking, if I don't grab hold of something soon, I'm going down. Well, I'm going to show off a little bit here, but the last time I got into that situation. I'm going to tell you how rather ingeniously got myself out of that predicament. I wore me fucking Crocs. Put them in sports mode. Put a new twist on the old "come as you are" slogan. But they wouldn't accept the video review. I love you people, do you know that? Thank you so much for changing my life. I hope you had a good time. See you around, see you around. Love you to pieces. God bless.